It's a quiet edition today. Let's have a look at this electric thing that I'm on. Let's have a look round the usual way. Right, we've got an electric bike today. It's the Horwin CR6. Now, these are the equivalent to a 125cc petrol bike. So you're talking a top speed of around the 60 mile an hour mark. These retail brand new. You're talking again about £6,000. So they are on the cheaper side of electric bikes. However, this is a used one. It's only got just over 200 miles on the clock. So I'll use the term used very loosely. But because this has been used, albeit a little bit, the price that Into Moto are selling this for is, I think, £3,199 thereabouts. I'm almost certain it's that. I'll put it on screen if it's not. But that for me makes this a used bike bargain. So let's have a look round. I'll show you what it's like. So I think it's quite a nice looking bike. I would probably compare it to those Super Soccos that I've been on. Very, very similar looks wise and price as well, to be fair. They are on the cheaper side of electric bikes. Now, as far as most electric bikes go, normally they're very much like push bikes where you'll have front and rear brakes on your bars, where this isn't like that. So you do have your front brake in the usual place on the right hand, but your back brake is where you would normally have it on a motorcycle, which is on your right foot. The left grip has nothing, so you've got nothing at all. So it's familiar if you are coming from a petrol bike, you'll be very familiar with the controls. Nice comfortable seat, to be fair. Mickey Mouse ears, yeah, don't mind them. They suit the look of the bike. It's quite a retro looking bike, I think, for an electric bike. They've not tried to go too stupid with the styling. Buttons, again, just very familiar if you're used to petrol bikes. So you've just got like an industry standard horn indicator, your high and low beam on this side. On the right hand side, you've got an engine start. I think that's a bit weird for an electric, because you've got a key that turns the bike on and then you've got to turn the engine on. It makes no sense because it's an electric motor, but hey ho, it is what it is. It just makes it more familiar to a petrol bike. And then you've got your modes. So you've got modes 1 and 2. Now, one thing I do find quite weird, and I just think it's unnecessary, but it's kind of like playing to the younger market, I think. So your key, this isn't keyless. There is a key slot down here, but it works very similar to a car key, where you've got your lock and unlock and everything. So if we were to unlock the bike, you've got a beep. Just listen to this when you turn the bike on. Completely and utterly unnecessary. But there is a decent size speedo, so it is nice and clear. Tells you what mode you're currently in. You've got your range on there. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to speak of. It is quite basic, but that's the whole point. It's a cheap electric bike. And again, when you take your key out, wait for that annoying noise. Completely and utterly pointless. Don't get it. Rear rack on the back. Just got a side stand. There's no centre stand with it. And aesthetically, it is trying to look like a motorbike, albeit you've just got your battery packs as opposed to your engine there, but it is very motorbike looking. From the front, you wouldn't know it was an electric bike. Very similar to a lot of 125s that are out there. Nice little windshield. Pointless, but it's, I suppose, for the looks more than actually keeping the wind off you. You've got your clear lenses. I do like the headlight. I'm 5'8", I'm comfortably flat foot on both sides. I'm not stretching, there's a little bit of a bend in the knee, so if you are shorter than me, you're not going to have any issues with this bike whatsoever. However, if you're taller and you're unsure, you have to go and sit on one to make sure, because what's perfect for me might not be for you. It's quite a comfortable position. Pegs are fairly central, the bars aren't too far away, you're not leant forward, you are sat up straight, so it's comfortable, and you could be on this all day. However, if you're in the highest mode setting, you'll be lucky to get about 50 miles out of it, and that is not riding it at top speed. But if you're riding it to its absolute limit, miles wise, don't know, I can't see you getting loads of miles out of it. However, that's not what these are for. The little town commuters doing a couple of miles here and there, if you're doing that, then it's a nice way to do it. It's comfortable, there's no noise with it, it's nice and quiet. You're not going to upset the neighbours in the morning when you set off, and it's just nice and easy. Literally plug it into your plug socket when you get home. So, you know, it's all dependent on what you're using your bike for. And that really sums up all of electric bikes for me. If you're using them to get round towns and cities, then they're brilliant, because they are very fuel efficient, because you're just plugging them in at home and it might cost you £1 to charge up. If you are living with parents, it's even better, isn't it? Because you plug it in and they won't even know they're paying for your fuel. Sneaky, but don't tell me you've not thought about it. As a little commuter, brilliant, but if you are going over 40 miles a day, then it might not be the best option for you, because the range would be a concern for me. If you could have this as a second bike and you were using this for your town rides or whatever, then brilliant. But not a lot of people have the luxury of having more than one bike, do they? Most mere mortals have only got the one. For me personally, if I was doing a 10-mile ride to work, I'd be more than happy doing it on this. It's a comfortable bike. Make sure you stay for the test ride and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, it's too hot. I'm getting a sweat on just talking to you now. So let's just go for a ride so I can cool down a little bit. Oh my word. That's a lot of clicking for that indicator. It's like you're trying to get a horse to come over to you. Oh, every time as well. So what do you think of the walk round? It's an electric bike, yes, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. However, let's just look at, you know, the fact that this is a cheap electric bike, which is not something you often say, is it, about electric bikes? They tend to be completely overpriced, completely, whereas this is reasonable. I do think, however, they're still expensive in that you can get a 125 petrol bike for the same, if not cheaper in most cases. Now, the beauty of this bike is you can just plug it into the mains charger, but it also does have a fast charger, I believe. The kit's in here. Electric bikes, once you've actually bought one, the cost of charging the battery is considerably lower than fuel costs. As far as this bike goes, I've been on faster electric bikes, I have, but this delivers the power quite smoothly. So albeit you kind of proper twist the throttle, it does pick up speed gradually. You get to normal road speeds fast enough without it ripping your arms off. Car park, let's do a little brake test while we're on here. Let's see what that's like. Get us up to 30 mile an hour. There's our 30. Yeah, that's all right, you know, it stops quite quickly. No mega issues with that. You can hear a little bit of a whine from the electric motor, especially when you wind it up a little bit and get a little bit of speed out of it. You can hear that little bit of a whine, but it is quiet, you know, there's no getting away from it. It does, for me, ruin a bit of the experience of riding because I like the noise of the engine. However, not everybody does. I haven't got much really to complain about other than the range, and that's something that's been done to death with electric bikes. Riding comfort, yeah, it's a comfortable bike. I've not got an issue with the comfort on it. I feel quite at home and relaxed on the bike. Back position's nice. I'm not reaching for the bars, like stretching for them. So the actual position for me is nice. No complaints with that. Performance, it's as good as any 125, maybe even slightly better than most. I know there's a lot of people out there that will be considering buying an electric bike. There will be a lot of people out there that are thinking, well, I can just plug it in the garage, I can plug it in the shed, I can plug it in the front room. You know, there's loads of options. These bikes are quite small, so you could comfortably put it in your front room if you wanted to, I'm sure. There's less things on this to service, so the service cost should be quite good. And every single argument that I've ever had with anybody about these electric bikes, it always boils down to the same thing, and that is range. And it's just, how far are you wanting to go on your bike? If you're doing a 2-3 mile journey to work, these are perfect. But if you are looking at getting a bike that you can go out and ride on all day, well, unless you're doing less than about 40 miles, then no, it's not really going to cut it. It wouldn't cut it for me. Light and nimble, they're quite good for zipping through traffic because they do feel light. I mean, it's odd really, because for a long time we've been told about how heavy electric bikes are because the batteries are so heavy, and yet I've not seen that. Certainly with the cheaper models, your Super Socko and these Horwins, they're not heavy in the slightest, or they don't feel heavy. They feel like push bikes to ride, and they genuinely do. They feel really light and nimble. They do have a place. I know a lot of people are dead against the electric bikes, and I can see why for a lot of them, because they don't suit what they use a bike for. You can't go and ride all day. You can't spend 2 seconds at a garage filling up. You have to spend a while letting it charge. I get all that. So I do see a lot of arguments against them, and I fully understand all of them. However, I do see the arguments for them as well. They're environmentally friendly, not to make. Apparently they're not environmentally friendly to make in the slightest, but they're environmentally friendly to run, especially around town. No horrible fumes or anything coming off them, no smells, no noise. So you've got all of that side. And as far as ease goes, you know, you can plug this in at night, come back to it in the morning, and it's fully charged, and you don't have to queue up at garages or pay for any of that. And you know, plugging it in at home isn't going to be that expensive either. It's not going to cost you a lot. I would say you're talking probably pence more than pounds. So if it suits your needs, it's a good option, this bike, because it's cheap. If it doesn't suit your needs, then thanks for watching anyway. Have a look at Into Moto. That's where this bike's available, and I'll put a link in the description. I thank you very much. I'll catch you on the next one. Laters.